Okay, go ahead and turn to page 16 and 17 in your text Well Said, edition 3, and you can follow along with me if you would like, or you can just watch the screen. What we are going to do at the very beginning of this semester is we're going to learn a new way to learn a symbol for a sound. Now, English spelling is very, very complex, and it's kind of crazy because sometimes words that we think would have certain sounds to them don't. And so look at the page 16 and 17 as a way of learning symbols, new symbols. It's kind of like learning the periodic table when you're doing chemistry, right? Everybody's had chemistry and we recognize this. We recognize the periodic table, and for every one of these elements that are very basic and core to the existence of the planet, it's being categorized, and there's a symbol that represents that particular element. So some of you are probably quite knowledgeable on this, and each color represents a classification and category. Well, it's very similar to the English language as well. We have kind of a periodic table of sounds. Instead of elements, it's sounds. And the way we do this is so that we can classify our particular sounds in all languages so that we could all agree on one symbol to represent that sound, because spelling is absolutely ridiculous in almost every single language. So let's take a look at what we mean here. For example, let me go to this particular example. It is by AZE Linguistics, and this example is from their video, and I can leave a copy of the website right here for you if you want to look at what the YouTube address is. But they're taking a look at the CH sound, ch sound, okay? How do you pronounce ch in English? Well, believe it or not, there's many different ways to express this sound, ch. You would think that CH is always ch, but it isn't. CH could be k, as in chaos, or CH can be an sh sound, as in machine, or it could have no sound, as in yacht. The CH is silent in here. So if you are a non-native speaker of English, which all of you are, and you're trying to learn a word based on spelling, you can often go down the wrong road because we use the same characters to represent many different sounds. So that's when linguists across the world decided we're just going to create this chart like the periodic table, and we're going to say whenever you want to make the ch sound, even if it's spelled ch, we're going to, in the dictionary, we're going to put this T and this odd-looking S here, and that will always represent the ch sound, no matter which language you're speaking anywhere in the world. If it has a ch sound, then it's going to be represented by this T and this S. Now, it doesn't mean that that language is going to spell it this way. It's just going to transcribe it that way in phonetic notation. So if you go to, in this chapter, it asks you to go to a dictionary, and it asks you to look up how the word is transcribed in the brackets. Well, that is phonetic notation. That is from the IPA, the International Phonetic Alphabet. And so therefore, whether you speak Farsi or Japanese or Italian or Spanish, any of the languages around the world, you will always know this. If you've studied the International Phonetic Alphabet, you will always know that that sound is ch, no matter what the spelling says, okay? And in chaos, you wouldn't say chaos, because if you look at its phonetic spelling, it would be k. And we wouldn't say machine, we would say machine, because the phonetic spelling is sh. And we wouldn't say yacht, we would say yacht, because there would be no transcribed ch when we do the phonetic alphabet. So what does the IPA look like? Well, as you're studying page 16 and 17, you see this, right? You see our chart in the background here. And most of the symbols on the IPA look like these symbols in English. So the P in the IPA is the P in the dictionaries, and these all look exactly the same. So this P in the brackets here mean that it is spelled, or the slashes I should say, it's pronounced P, and then B, and then T, and then D, and then K, and then G, and then F, and then V. But now we start to change a little bit. And the reason why we start seeing these odd symbols here is because the TH in English is actually represents a few sounds. And so since this spelling can represent more than one sound, then we need to give each particular sound its own symbol. Okay? So if we pronounce th, and that you didn't hardly hear that because I'm not using any voice. That TH sound, like think, thanks, through, that TH has no voice, so we're going to represent it with this symbol, and that's called the theta symbol. So anytime we want to know if the sound in a word is voiced or voiceless, for that TH, this will tell us it has no voice, and the next one is a TH, which has one. That's pronounced th, there, them, these, those, th, th. So that's a TH sound, but this time with voicing. And I'm going to take you to a website here in just a second that will go through each of these sounds over and over. And not only that, it's going to tell you where your tongue goes. It's going to tell you what your vocal cords are doing. It's going to tell you where the air flows. So it will give you a nice cross section of how to look at these sounds. A sagittal view, as it's called, okay? Then we come down to the S, which is the normal expectation of the S, and then Z for Z. But then it starts to change again because the SH sound in English, now I should say the SH spelling in English can represent many different sounds. So since we want to know what sound is sh, okay, because it's not always SH, then we need to have its own special symbol. So here we have this very long and skinny S, and that will always in any language represent, if that language has it, sh. No matter how that language spells it, it will always be sh, okay, in its phonetic transcription. Okay, and then see how this S, over here the S is S, but since S is here again, we can't use this same notation because it's going to sound differently. Measure, j, j. So I can't use this S here to represent this j sound, so we had to come up with its own symbol. You see how that works? So now anytime you want a j, like genre, measure, pleasure, treasure, okay, that's going to be j, and it's going to be the very fancy, I call it a very fancy Z, okay? And then we have to do the same with ch here for the same reason that I showed you on this. It's because we have 4 different ways ch can be represented, so we need to have each sound represented separately. This CH, as we know, is the regular ch, as in chair or choose, and of course, chaos is not a ch sound. So we had to do this logically by doing that. So let's go back to here. So remember, this T plus the long S is ch. And now we have the word job, and the sound of that is j. And j has a D kind of fancy Z combination. J. It's like 2 sounds blended very quickly. And that's in judge, job, jump, jury. Okay? So j. So we're not going to spell that with the J. We're going to spell that with the, well, we're going to spell it with the J, but when we transcribe it to actual phonetics, we're going to put the DZ. And then M looks the same here, and N looks the same, N. And NG is now going to take the N and then the tail of the G. See the tail of the G there? And that's one sound in English, okay? So it doesn't exist in all languages, the sound. In fact, we don't have at the beginning of the word. We usually have in the beginning or in the middle or at the end of the word, like singer, okay? Finger, song, all right? L is same, L, and R is same, R, and W is same, W, and Y is same, Ya. But I will tell you that sometimes the Y in some charts is actually written as a J. So if you ever see that as you come across dictionaries or some IPA charts, some will put the Y sound and they'll write it as a J. But for this class, we're going to use Ya here, okay? And then for home. So this is all our consonant sounds. And it's just, that's not too many symbols to have to know, because you know most of these. But it's some of these odd symbols, maybe 6, 7, 8, that you have to get used to, okay? And then with the vowels, we have, this is the most confusing for students because the vowels really look differently in phonetic transcription than they do in spelling. Now this one you'll recognize, H-E, he, but when we transcribe it, it will look like an I, and that's what's confusing. So that's why we don't rely on spelling. We rely on symbols, but you'll have to get your mind used to figuring what is spelling and what is the symbol for the sound. So E, and that's the phonetic transcription. And the book is going to put a Y there, but I am going to show you a vowel chart that's easy to memorize, and we'll be working on that during the class as we go along, where we just use the I symbol for the E sound, but Y is perfectly fine too. Both represent the same sound. And then if you want the short sound, hit, it, I, then we use a capital I, okay, it. And then for the A sound, and this, it confuses so many students because we expect an A to give us the A sound, and yet we use the E in phonetic alphabet. You may see it as an EI, but we use the E, A. So phonetically, E sounds like A, as in may, or play, okay, or tray, or say. Okay, then we have the S sound, and that is the epsilon, and it's the backwards E, fancy E, so eh. And then the A sound, as in mad, or bat, or cat, or fat, ah. And that looks like an A and E together, okay? And then we have an sound. It's as in bird, or curd, or herd, okay? It's an ER together. The book is going to use that. You'll see it on the phonetic vowel chart, often like this. The R takes most of the sound, but it has a little bit of that vowel, so it becomes okay? Then we have the sound, that's the most common sound in English, it's called schwa. It's this upside down E. It's the schwa, And it's like someone hit you in the stomach, and you go, okay? As in sofa, cupboard, okay? But the caret here, we call this a caret or the upside down V. That is also the sound, like the schwa, but it's stressed. Like if you cut your finger, it has more of a strong sound. So you see these can be used interchangeably, okay? They both have the sound, and they're both it's the most common sound in English for the vowel, all right? And then we have as in father, bother, okay? And then the oo sound, as in to, and glue, and blue, and shoe. And again, the vowel chart that I'm going to show you doesn't necessarily have the W, but you will see it both ways. It just shows that your lips are more rounded when you say this ooh. And then as in good, 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 okay? Or put, or foot, okay? Then the O sound as in know and go, flow, show, very common sound as well. The W just means that your lips are rounded when you say that O. Okay, this is said in English. It is not common in the Western United States. It's very common on the East Coast, but we do have it in some words on the West Coast. But it's oi. It's not oi because that's a diphthong, but we have o. It's a very rounded o. It's like ah, but you close your lips around that sound. O. Okay, hot, caught, shot. That's if you're on the East Coast. It's more of a Bostonian accent, okay? But we do have it in crawled, like your baby crawled across the floor. Crawl, crawled, okay? It's an ah sound with rounded lips, basically. And then these last three right here are what we call diphthongs. And diphthongs means it is di, meaning two sounds together. So some of our vowel sounds in English are blended together, so it's two sounds that become one, but it's lengthened. So you can kind of see it in the word. This is the I sound, like fine, I, pie, shy. Here is another example of why we should have the phonetic alphabet. Take a look at this chart right here. This is from EnglishForKids.com. It's from their example, so if you want to check out their website, they have some cards that are in this format that are very helpful in seeing why it is that spelling can confuse us as far as what sounds the combination of letters make, which is why we need a symbol. Now, the AI symbol, as you know, is the diphthong, I. It has the sound I. And if you look at all the examples, the first row has the letter I, which is sensible, ice and kite and library, and then down below diamond, and then over lion. But look at I as in the eye on your head. That is spelled E-Y, E. So the EY combination can give us the I sound, and the letter I can give us the I sound. And if we come down here, the word tie, I-E, so the I-E can give us the I sound. And moving further down, I-G-H can give us the I sound, as in highlighter. And then the simple Y can give us the I sound. And then UY, as in guy, can give us the I sound. And then YE gives us the I sound, as in goodbye. And then AY, A, as in papaya, gives us the I sound. So again, as a non-native speaker to the language, if you are trying to, and even with children who are native, if you're looking at all the different spelling combinations that can make up the word or the sound I, can be very confusing. So here, if we, whatever word that we are trying to pronounce, instead of just looking at its spelling, if we put it in its phonetic transcription, sound for sound, symbol for symbol, then you will know exactly how to say the word regardless of the spelling. And this is the ow sound, as in now, cow, how. And that's represented by an ah and an So these two symbols, when you see these two symbols together, you know you have a diphthong, meaning two vowel sounds that have been blended. And the last one is the o sound with an I, and that becomes oi, oi, boy, toy, okay, koi. So those are, so we have I, ow, oi. I, ow, oi. Now, these are the symbols that you're going to get used to. Again, once you learn the symbols, then you will be able to take any word from any language and look at its phonetic transcription and know exactly how to say it. I can look at a Japanese word and never have heard a Japanese speaker say that word. And as long as you give it to me in phonetic transcriptions, like what's in these slashes, I'll be able to say it, albeit I'll have a little bit of an American accent, but I'll be able to say it because I will know that that sound and that symbol is represented the same across the world, no matter how it's spelled. Okay, so what we're going to do next here is I'm going to show you how you can go practice all of these sounds and symbols in a website that you'll use. Now, it's a website that is the Sounds of Speech at the University of Iowa.edu. And I've put this link into the Canvas class so you have it. And as soon as you type it in, it's going to come up with this page. And you have a few options here. You can actually download an app for your iPhone or for your Android phone. But we're not going to do that right now, but you have the ability. Now, if you do, if we clicked on this here, we'd come to this one. It costs $4. But for you, it might be worth it because you can practice without having your computer in front of you. And a lot of my students have bought it, so you can continue to look at the sounds. But the free version is when you're on this page, go to continue, and it's going to ask you, check the language you want to study. And of course, you're going to say English. And then what you want to do is now it's going to have you click any of these tabs here so you can look at a particular feature. Okay, so do you want to know how it's said or where it's said or whether you use your voice? So let's look at a stop. Well, our stops, the way we say them, are P, T, K, B, D, G. Now, it tells you what a stop is. Now, I'm going to test you on a stop or fricative or nasal. I'm not going to give you homework on that. All I want you to know is how to say it and what that symbol looks like, okay? So here, I'm going to turn this way up now. If you want to see how it's said, click on the P. Now watch her and this one. So let's focus on this first. And you play it.
Pa.
Now look what happens here.
Pa.
It's going to block the air and look at the vocal cords. It does not move.
Pa.
Okay? And look at the lips.
Pa.
Okay? And then here it's flowing, it's cutting the air off to the nose. So this is not a nasal sound. This is going to cut, the little flap behind here cuts the air, so the air is forced to come up through the mouth. Otherwise, if we leave it open, the air comes through the nose, and those are the sounds like ng. Those are our nasal sounds. So most of the time, this is going to be closed off. Okay? But now let's look at B and let's look at what happens with the lips and the vocal cord here.
Ba.
Did you see it vibrate?
Ba.
Okay, but it's the same. Your lips are moving, this is closed, but now this is vibrating. The only difference between P and B is that one vibrates and the other one doesn't. Other than that, they're exactly the same. Now we can come over here to the woman and watch her lips.
Ba.
Okay, and now of course then you can play different sounds.
Ba. Taboo.
Right? So then you keep going and you can see that, remember, these are all on the charts. Don't they look familiar to you now? And these two are the TH sound. So you can play them a lot. So you can, I know especially my Farsi speakers, they can initially have some trouble with the TH sound. So this will help you with that. And look at the tongue, go right against the teeth there. And look at the flap. Make sure that the air is not going through the nose. And look at the vocal cords. They do not move. Okay? And then now watch her mouth and see where her tongue hits her teeth, if you can see it. But she makes no noise. Okay? But look at its partner. These two are the exact same place in the mouth, and the only difference is the vocal cord. So watch this. Watch here.
The.
And there you see it vibrating. But you'll see that her tongue and her teeth are the same here.
The.
The only thing moving is that. Okay? And then where's the voiced sound? Well,
That. Wither. Smooth.
th. Okay. So, and you can keep going. I'm not going to go through all of these because you can do this. And again, it's free and it's at the website that I'm putting. Again, these two weird symbols now that are ch and j. Okay.
Cha. Ja.
And now their tongue hits on the alveolar palatal right here, the alveolar. And the exact same thing. The only difference is this one is moving the vocal cords. This one isn't. And we can look at her do ja.
J.
Okay, but it's hard to see in her mouth, so you have to go here. Right? Our nasals are, of course, are M, N, and ngma. Here's the ng sound. Watch what happens here. This stays open, and the vocal cords will vibrate. It's open because the air has to go through the nose. See how that stayed open? And then we'll watch her. It's almost like you have a cold. You know, have you ever got, oh, my nose is driving me crazy? It's kind of like you plug it's like your nose is stuffy. It has a little bit of that kind of feel. Your liquids are your L and R. And again, you can take a look at where the tongue goes and how she says it.
Oh.
But watch the tongue here.
Oh.
Okay. And now our glides. Now, they use the IPA J, but remember in our class, what are we going to use? We're going to use the Y. But a lot of times they'll use a J, so I just want you to know that they'll take this spelling and they'll actually make it phonetic for the Y sound. So just be aware of that. It happens sometimes, okay? All right, now, then you can go to vowels, and you can see, what do you want, the monophthongs or the diphthongs? And this should look all the same. A,
A.
E,
E.
A,
A.
E.
E.
Remember, this is A.
A.
And then the diphthongs are those two-letter ones. I, ow, oi. Okay?
I. Ow. Oi.
All right, so you can listen to everything on this particular website and download it to your phone if you want to pay $4 for it. That's terrific. So all of the symbols that Well said in the book that you guys are going to use for this semester, all of those symbols, let's look what that looks like on a chart. Okay, so let's bring that up. So for at least the American side of things, this chart is much bigger, but we're just going to focus on these because this is the American pronunciation. And all the symbols that are here, as you see, we're going to look at in a chart. And we're going to do that because it helps you see how these are paired together, that these sounds actually have mates. It's like they're married. P, B, T, D, K, G. They're married because they're the exact same. They both use lips, and they're both are stops, but one is voiceless and one is voiced. So I wanted you to see these in pairs, but these are the consonant sounds of American English. Same could be said for our vowels. You have the vowels like this. And that's fine just for practicing the sound, but I want to show you a different representation because this is your tongue. If you can imagine your tongue right here, and this is towards the back of your mouth, and this is the bottom of your mouth where your teeth are, and this is where the top of your teeth are, okay? So These vowels can be put in a chart kind of representing where your tongue might go. And so the sound here is E as in beat and I as in bit. So E means your tongue is really high, you see that? And really forward in your mouth. And I is a little further back and a little down, okay? And then we go to where your tongue is at mid-range, A, and then E. So you start to feel a relaxing of the tension in your jaw and in your tongue, and then you drop down even lower, and your tongue goes down towards the bottom of your mouth, and you have the vowel sound ah. Then as we move to the middle of your mouth, and this is the most neutral part for a vowel, which is why it's the most common vowel in English. So we have the schwa, which is and we have the caret, which is also a schwa, but it's just more stressed. Remember, like cut. But as in sofa, notice that it's not as stressed, but cut, especially in one syllable words. It's very stressed, but either one of these that you use is going to be fine. And then we have the tongue that goes back further in the mouth. Notice that this is where the tongue is back further, but we also are rounding our lips. That's why this round is here. So if you notice, if you practice in front of a mirror and you say ooh as in boot, you'll notice that your lips come around and start to shape together. And then as in put, it's a little more lax and not as tense as O, and then O, and then ah. And that's the lowest part of your mouth, the least tense of it, and it's not rounded because your mouth just falls open, same as ah, your mouth just falls open. Okay, so we have beat, bit, bait, bet, bat, but, boot, and we don't have one for this one. And then boat, bought. And on this one, I would say that we would have father, okay? And this one is put. We don't have a but word starting with a B, so we would say put. But I can use B words in most of these. Beat, bit, bait, bet, bat, but, boot, boat, bought. But this one is put, and we have here father, pot. Okay, so that's the vowel chart. I'm not going to have you memorize this, at least at this point. In the first week, second week, what you're doing is all I'm interested in is you seeing relationships to these vowels and how do you pronounce them? What is the symbol and what is the sound? What will be important for you to know is this. How do we take the symbols from the APA vowel chart and the APA consonant chart? Or from the handout we have been using, how do we type these on our keyboard? Well, you will have this site right here, the ipa.typeit.org full. Make sure it's on IPA full. And you're going to be able to take any of our phonetic symbols, and that includes vowels or consonants, and there's many more here, okay, and be able to type a word. So if the American word for that's how we spell it, right? So this is how we spell it, but how do we say it? And saying it, remember, comes in brackets. So that. Well, I know it's this here, the. And then what's the ah sound? Ah. Do you remember? Well, it's that from the vowel chart. And then the last sound is t. That. So this is the way we spell it, and this is the way we say it. And those symbols say this is how you say it, not how you write it. Okay? So everything's here. It might take a little bit of getting used to. As you guys get better at this, you can just hold down your control key on your computer and type. I'm just going to type a regular S on my keyboard. I'm typing that. But if I hold down my control key, it gives me that. But if I hit it fast, it gives me different symbols. I'm going to hold down my Z key, just a regular Z. Now, if I hold down my control key and go fast, it gives me different Z's. Okay, now you remember this one, je, right? So this is where you can come. Now, some of you may be very familiar with symbols on your own keyboard, and if you know how to get these symbols on your own keyboard, that's perfectly fine, everybody. Don't worry about it. But this way, you can use this site, and then if I tell you, give me the phonetic transcription for that, and you have to go do it in phonetics, okay? Then all you have to do is then copy this. Okay, I'm going to Command C this or Control C it, and it will say copied. And then you can come back to Canvas, and then whatever you're working on, all you have to do is paste it. And then therefore that word shows up. So that's one way to do it. And you can, if you have a numeric pad on your keyboard, like many laptops do not have a numeric pad. They have the numbers at the top, but they don't have the numbers in a column on the side of the keyboard. Numeric keyboards can look something like this on, let's say, an IBM or a regular PC, where the numbers are to the side here. And then you also see numbers across. That's what it looks like for most laptops. To save room, they just put the numbers across. But if you have a keypad where you've got the numbers to the side here, then you are able to have a list of numbers that will produce the symbols that we're talking about. So, and if that's the case, I'll give you a website where you can just know what numbers to punch in, and it will give you the symbol that we need. Now, for me particularly, I don't, because I work off a laptop, so I don't have a numeric keypad to my right, so I just use the site that we have here. But for those of you who are using keypads that do, trying to show you different types of keypads here. For a Mac, it might look something like that, a little grayer, but on the side. So again, numbers across, but keypad to the right. If you've got that, then you can type in symbols very easily, very quickly. But for now, for most of you, it's just as easy to use this site because it's there. You can copy and paste. It's pretty easy. Okay. So let's say you're taking a little quiz and it says, what is the phonetic transcription for the following words? And one of the words, the spelling is that. Well, as we've done over here, we would just put that. And that would be the phonetic spelling, and then you would just copy that, right? And again, you just do Command C and it would say copied. And then you come over to your quiz and you just paste that in. And you can see it pastes in the phonetic transcription. Or if it were beauty, and remember, you have to represent every sound that said beauty. Okay, so if we come back here, what does that look like? Let's take a look. Well, beauty, the spelling is right, but how do you say it? Well, and I'm just going to type a B since that's normal keyboard. Yeah, beau, yeah. So there's a Y in there, right? Yeah, beau, ooh. What's the ooh sound? Well, the ooh looks like a regular U, and your handout has the W up here, which you can put if you want. I mean, you could put that like that, right? Beau, D, beau, D. So that's a regular D. And then what's the E sound? How do we represent the E? Well, if you go back to the phonetic chart, you will remember that the E sound, usually you're used to the spelling with the E, but really, let's see what we have on our charts here. What is the E sound? Well, remember the E sound is that I. So that's what we have to go back and do a transcription on. So where's our I? Well, it's the normal keyboard I, right? And if you want to, again, if you want to put a little Y up here, you can. But for me, you can just put the one letter. In fact, it's just easier that way. It won't make you do it. And this too is optional. Okay, so then you can put a bracket around that, and then you're going to copy and paste it. Now, I will always have you put it in brackets because the brackets mean this is how we say it. Okay, so then you would come back to your quiz, and then you would just do Command B, and then love. It's a pretty easy one. How would we do love? Well, there's the spelling of it, but how do we say it? Well, the normal L and then and that's stressed, like someone hit you in your gut. Do you remember that one? It looks like an upside down carrot. Well, you could answer this two ways. The most correct way is to put that carrot, that upside down V. Okay? That's our most correct way to do it. And there it is there. And then V. But it would be perfectly fine if you just did this and the schwa. Like that, love. Okay, either one would be acceptable. So then you could copy and paste the one that you want and then bring back over to your quiz and you would type it in there. See? So these are the kinds of things I wanted you to practice and be able to say, now, this will come in time. I'm only showing you how to use the typewriter, the IPA typewriter, and how to copy and paste. You're going to practice doing this before I'll ever quiz you, okay? This is just to show you how to type in here and how to paste. That's all I really want you to know for this lesson. We'll do one more, nation. Okay, so we're going to say n, nation, n, normal end, a. I don't know if you remember, but the A sound is really represented by this. If you go back to your vowels. So if we go back here, what's that A sound? It's represented by the E. Now, again, the book puts the Y there, but I don't require it, okay? So then we want to come back here, and we've got the E, but that's the A sound, and then sh. What's the sh sound? There. Ne, sh, Here we go again. You could either put the upside down E, or you can put the caret. Either one is okay. And then nation, and that would be nation, okay? And you just Command C it or Control C it, it depends on what computer. And in here you would just Command V it. And then you would just submit your choice here. You would just submit it. And then you would get your results back. All right, everybody, so the whole point of this lesson is just to teach you how to use this website so you can copy the characters, and then when it's time to do the assignments in class, you can just paste them into the Canvas assignment. Don't worry about this right now. I haven't really taught you a lot about phonetic transcription. I just want to show you where to go get the symbols. So once we start practicing this, and you're going to start transcribing later on, then you won't be at a loss to find, well, where's those characters or how do I type it in? It's going to be so easy. And then once you learn this, it's kind of fun. It's like a puzzle. It's like a secret code. So don't let it overwhelm you. We will do a lot of practice with this, and you will become very good. And again, once you know the symbol for the sound, you will be able to pronounce any word in any language, no matter how it's spelled. All right, I'll see everybody in class.